Let's do another example. This time the angle I'm given is C. The other side that I'm given is 24.9. I'm going to put that over here on the left side. That means that this side over here is my side C that I was given. That means the first angle I want to solve for is angle B. Using the law of sines, I can do C over sine of C. Equals B over the sine of B. Now when I cross multiply and solve for the sine of B, I get 24.9 times the sine of 55.3 degrees divided by 22.8. Putting that in my calculator, I get 0.89787 approximately. This is less than 1, so that means I do have at least one triangle. To find angle B, I'm going to use the inverse sine. That gives me 63.9 degrees. For right now, I'm going to call this B1 because I don't know if I have one triangle or two. So B1 equals 63.9 degrees. That would be the one right here. Now, if I do have a second triangle, it's going to take this side and have it swing over this way. That means these two angles, my B1 and my B2, would be supplementary. This would be my B2. To find out if this little triangle over here is possible, I'm going to find the supplement to this angle, which would be the B2. I'm just going to subtract that from 180 degrees, and that gives me 116.1 degrees. Then I'm going to take this and add it to my angle C that I already know, and see if that adds up to more or less than 180. So I'm taking 116.1 plus 55.3 degrees. That adds up to 171.4 degrees. Since that's less than 180, that means that there is a second triangle, because now I can find a third angle to go in this triangle. All right, so this tells me I have two triangles. From now, I'm going to separate this into two problems. I have triangle 1, where my B1 is equal to 63.9 degrees. My third angle would be angle A. And this is going to be different for the two triangles. I'm going to have an A1, which would be this big angle, and then I'm going to have an A2, which would be this little angle in here. To get A1, I'm going to take my C and my B1 and add those two together and subtract that from 180. For my A1, I would get 60.8 degrees. Then since I have the A1, now I can find side A1 by using the law of sines. Again, for this, I'm going to use the two quantities I was given in the first place, which were the side C and the angle C. Then to solve this for A1, I just have to multiply both sides by the sine of 60.8 degrees. That gives me 24.2 feet for my side A1. That would be this long side in my first triangle. That would be 24.2 feet. And now I have everything figured out for triangle 1. I'm going to go on to triangle 2. So here we've got B2 for our angle. We figured out that was 116.1. We want to get A2, so I'm going to take 116.1 plus my 55.3. I already figured out that adds up to 171.4 degrees. So I'm going to subtract that from 180, and that gives me an A2 of 8.6 degrees. So that's a very small angle. It's this little one right here. Now I can solve for my side A2, which would be this really short side on the base. I'm going to do A2 over the sine of A2. And I'm going to use the same values on this side of the proportion as I did before. To solve this for A2, I'm going to multiply both sides by the sine of 8.6 degrees. And when I work that out for A2, I end up with 4.1 feet. That would be this short side over here. And notice in this one that we've got this tiny angle here, and we also have a very short side here. So now we have everything for both of our triangles. One last problem for this. In this one, we're not actually going to solve a triangle, but without even using the law of sines, we want to figure out why this wouldn't work. If we had an angle A of 104 degrees, a side A of 26.8 meters, and a side B of 31.3 meters, why this could not give us a valid triangle. The first thing to notice here is that the A in this one is an obtuse angle. In other words, it's greater than 90 degrees. You can only have one obtuse angle in a triangle. So that means that this has to be the biggest angle in the triangle. That also tells us that that has to be across from the longest side. If we look at the lengths of our two sides over here, the A, which would be across from angle A, it's not the longer of these two, the B is. This would have to be the longest side in order for this to work, but it isn't. That's why this can't be a valid triangle.